Saturday is Sun Stakes Saturday at the Downs at Mohegan Sun Pocono. Should be a great card of action. 14 races, 13 of them are stakes races. Post time is 1:30. We'll have all the live action up on DRF.com/harness, as well as free harness IPPs. And of course, this video is probably there as well, because Matt and I are going to discuss the $10,000 guaranteed pick four that starts in race 11. It has two $300,000 races, two $100,000 races. So lots of great horses to watch. And we're going to start with the Max Hemp. That's race number 11 on the card. And as you see, we have a rematch here between Beach Class and By the Missile.
Yeah, a lot of familiar names here as people become accustomed to and learn more about these 3-year-olds, how the top ones separate themselves from the rest. Talking about, some separation. The top two, you got to mention, are Beach Glass and By the Missile. We see what Beach Glass has done in the North American Cup, finishing second, Middle-Length Pace, winning, Adios running second, and Kane Pace winning with ease. And then By the Missile with that insane effort in the Milstein, where he just ran away and hid from his competition and just had a breathless, effortless mile where it looked like he could have gone faster. You know what? Just a great matchup here, but I'm not sold that one of these two have to win this race. I'm looking at Forever Boy, which is kind of interesting. Look at that driver change. You're getting Dexter Dunn, one of the leading drivers, in North America. So should make for an interesting affair, that's for sure. Where did you lean?
Do you think that Forever Boy, Dexter Dunn, do you think Dexter Dunn's worth 2 seconds? Because it might take 2 seconds for him to beat By the Missile or Beach
Yeah,
Class.
you know what? It's not like I'm not knocking Mike Wilder, who's obviously done a great job with this horse. But Dexter Dunn, maybe has more experience in racing, in these big money races, and is more inclined to get into a better spot with the horse. Forever Boy, you saw the effort in the Kane Pace. He left well, but then he ends up first over, puts in a nice bid, but then gets out finished. I just think that he can have a little sneaky leave off the gate, and maybe if maybe hold out a pocket trip depending on Beach Classes and By the Missile do. He's going to be. When I saw that driver change, I went, wow, I can't wait to use him, and so I'm going to use him. I'm going to use Beach Class and By the Missile also because they're tough to separate. But I'll go 3 deep. Where did you lean?
I'm only going 2 deep here with Beach Glass and By the Missile, and I'm actually going to play, a much bigger ticket with Beach Glass. I really like Beach Glass in this spot. I really think it's a good spot for him. The last time By the Missile and him caught up, I thought By the Missile had a pretty good trip in the Adios, whereas Beach Glass was used hard. I mean, they went a 25-4 opening quarter, 53.5. He was used there, and he was also making I think it was 4 or 5 weeks in a row he was starting. I think this is a much better setup for him. He's had a little bit of time to rest, a couple of weeks off. I think things are going to go much better in this spot for him. And so Beach Glass would be the horse I'm going to lean in on here as my number one, but I will use By the Missile because I think there's some other tickets on my ticket later on that could perhaps give me enough of a price to make it worthwhile. And I didn't spend that much overall. We're going to move on to race number 12 here, the $300,000 Earl Beal. And this one's led by the Hambletonian champion, Cool Papa Bell.
Yeah, the big upset Hambletonian winner, 52-1 in the Hambo, where just the trip, everything went his way. He had a few breakers. He was able to slap the rail. He was able to angle clear. Todd McCarthy kept him trotting basically through the lane, and he got the jump. He got the jump on Joviality and others, and was able to pick up the huge upset here.
You're giving away all the spoils, Matt. You're giving away all the spoils before we show the video. So why don't we show the video of the victory first, and then we can talk about the trip. We're starting out at the start of the race, and really what I wanted to point out here is Temporal Hanover, the 7, who's being used, to try to make the lead. And Joviality is going to basically give him the old no soup for you and stuff him in the pocket. And then we'll see later in the mile where, Temporal Hanover's back. He's going to be first over, going after the leader.
Yeah, I mean he picks it up here with coming after Rebuff, who just totally caved in, and Temporal Hanover just keeps grinding and grinding. But we see Cool Papa Bell on the outside. Oh, almost a bad step there, and he just saved all the ground. And we saw at the start of the race where you're focusing on Temporal Hanover because there really isn't much to look at with Cool Papa Bell. He's a long shot. He gets away near the back, but once he gets clear, I mean, he just charges home and shocked the world. But Temporal Hanover, I mean, listen, he went a big trip in the Hambo Elimination. It's missed by a head. He went a big trip in the Hambo Final. So when is it his turn? I think today is his turn. You're getting Brian Sears back in the bike, and this is the race where I think he takes control of the race. Cool Papa Bell, I don't see him leaving hard. Probably gets away, third or fourth or something like that, because he hasn't really shown a ton of speed. I think this is Temporal Hanover's day to absolutely shine in this race, and he's going to be my key in this Big Four sequence.
I'm 100% on board with you. He's my key as well. I love him in this spot. I think he's going to march right to the front here, and he's just going to go down the road, in my opinion. I mean, I respect the Hambletonian champ, Cool Papa Bell, but I think the price isn't going to be there to play him. I mean, you need to see, not that he hasn't been consistent with 4 wins and 8 starts, but I need to see more from him before I'm going to take a shot at him at a shorter price. So for me, it's all Temporal Hanover, and we're going to move on to race number 13, which is the $100,000 Sebastian K. And this race, I think, is a little bit more wide open, despite the presence of Bella Bellini, who's basically shown that any trip could be a winning trip for her.
Oh yeah, I mean, post 7 is no cakewalk, obviously, when she obviously relies as being an off the pace commodity. But how much great horses or champions can find ways to work out winning trips, and I don't see Dexter Dunn necessarily just taking back and resigning to the fact that he's going to get away 6th, 7th, or 8th with her. I think he's got to be marching early, and I think that's actually what he's going to do. Not necessarily to the front, but enough where you can hopefully settle somewhere mid pack, so she's not too far back and she can gun down the speed. When Doves Cry was really the race that Bella Bellini won.
Is this really the race where they're going to want to push it hard?
Well, I mean, it's still $100,000 race. It's still a big event. And how hard does she have to get pushed, really? I mean, she's. I'm not saying I love her on top and she's the horse to beat, but I get the feeling that you are adamant about her not bringing forth her best effort. When I just don't think that's the case. If you don't like her, who do you like? When Doves Cry was very, very stubborn on the front end when these two matched up at the Meadowlands, and we know all about her resume. I mean, if you don't like Bella Bellini, where are you leaning?
I'm leaning a lot of ways actually in this race. This is the race where I'm going to spread the deepest. I'm using When Doves Cry, though wouldn't be my top pick. I use Bella Bellini grudgingly, only because I think there were other horses in the sequence that I've used where could push the price of the ticket up. My top pick is Quattro de Julio. I think people are going to look at that line and say, oh, look, the horse has made a break, and you're going to get a much better price on this horse than maybe you should. I mean, this is just who this horse is. Sometimes he acts up behind the gate, sometimes he acts up during the race, but he really hasn't done it that often. I see this as a spot where he can really show his speed and try to go for the front here, and on the smaller track maybe control the action and get the job done. I also use the 6 Southman Tyrion, who I know is 12-1 on the morning line, but last start really had no chance. I mean, they went so slow that even a 26 and change quarter couldn't get it done. This is a uber talented horse who had to take off a lot of time due to injury, and He's kind of working his way back. I never worry about layoffs when it comes to a Sponstead trainee because he always seems to have them ready. I wouldn't be shocked if this guy, somehow, pulled off a miracle here.
Would you rather see a catch driver, or are you okay with Sponstead, driving himself?
I'd always rather see a catch driver, but I'm not opposed to, Aki driving the horse.
Okay. Listen, but my horse that I'm kind of looking at as a price is maybe the Three Hill Exotic from the Ron Burkhardt barn. This horse has always been a good trotter from day one, but when Ron Burke got him, he looks like he stepped up his game even more, and we saw what he did in the Vincennes in that bulky field. Yannick Giwner was driving. He just brushed and crushed. And you want to talk about horses that are sharp coming into a race. I know he hasn't faced invitational caliber horses, but I think Yannick got along great with them, was able to dominate, and he's another one that's versatile. And I think somewhere around his 6-1 morning line price, I think he's definitely worth consideration. So he's going to be my other horse other than the top names that I'm going to use on my ticket.
Okay, so we're both doing a little bit of spreading in the Sebastian K. We're going to move on to race number 14 to close out this $10,000 guaranteed pick 4 with the Always Be Mickey Invitational worth $100,000 as well. The favorite here is Alleywag Hanover, who we haven't seen in a lot of stakes races because, well, there was some issues making the stakes payments. But here he is now. He's won 2 in a row, and he's looking to make it a hat trick here.
Yeah, I mean there are lots to like. Good post for on this track. Top connections. Todd McCarthy, Brett Pelling, coming off of 2 straight wins at Philly and Overnight Company, where he just dominated. And then the lack of the top tier talent in this race, in terms of the aged pacers, certainly makes him very enticing. And you want to talk about top names, that land in this race. How about the Ron Burke trainee? This is the plan. This is arguably the one of the better spots he's seen in some time, or he gets away from the real top dogs. And I can see Yannick, he can fire off the gates as he did in the Dan Patch. I see Yannick getting aggressive with him again and getting him in play. And I'm definitely gonna use him on my ticket. That's for sure, along with Alleywag Hanover.
I didn't use him, but I did use a couple others in here along with Alleywag Hanover. One of them is Billy Clyde, who you look at those lines and say, oh, he's not of this class, but this guy's good. I mean, they didn't pay him into any stakes this year. I don't think that they were expecting him to be as good as he has been so far this year. I thought that he would be good, but maybe not this good. Next year, the plan is to put him in stakes races, and this is a good test for him, and he's been as game as they come. He's gone to the front, and just no one can get past him. I mean, Backstreet Shadow's a pretty nice horse, and even he had a lot of hard time getting past him at certain points. So I'm using him. I'm using Alleywag Hanover, and I'm using American Courage, who just won at Yonkers at Monday. Nice 151, basically training mile. I mean, he really didn't have to work too hard in that race, and we've already seen he could post a 47-mile here at Pocono. He's done it before. I think he's going to be more of an off-the-pace commodity. But if, as you say, if this is the plan goes and Billy Clyde goes and Alleywag goes, then maybe they could set it up for American Courage from off the pace.
Yeah, listen, I know you've always been a fan of this horse. I have not been a huge fan of him, and he has beaten me numerous times. Ruthless Hanover, we didn't even mention, is a 3-1 second choice in the morning line. I guess you want to talk about early speed, mixing it up. I'm sure Andrew McCarthy doesn't want to be sitting last here with what could be perceived as a live entrant. So that's more potential speed. But I'm going to hope this is the plan. Who would be my top pick in here? You can certainly make the case that he's overdue, and I think just facing softer gets him over the top. And I'm using him, and I'm using Alleywag Hanover to hopefully, end a winning pick 4 sequence.
Well, let's check out those pick 4 tickets in case you wanted to follow along. Maybe go with it. There's mine. It's a 12-hour play, and quite frankly, as I mentioned earlier, I'm probably going to, key in a little bit more on the beach glass in the opening leg, which, if you wanted to just key one, that gets you down to 6. I wouldn't mind pressing that button a few times. So $12 play there, a little bit light early and spreading a little bit later. And Matt, ticket similarly priced
Well,
normally?
we're kind of we're in agreement in the 11th race, the first leg, although I did use Forever Boy on my ticket. We are in complete agreement in the second leg with Temporal Hanover for the 27 reasons we mentioned already. You did a spread in the 13th race. I did a little bit of a spread, and I'm hoping. I used the 2 top horses, and When Doves Cry, Bellini. Hill Exotic is my sneaky, so to speak. And the last leg, like you just mentioned, Alleyway Candle from Brett Pelling Barn, and This Is the Plan from the Burke Brigade. And I think I hope that's all I need in the last leg for what's only a $9 ticket.
Well, everyone, this is going to be a really great card of action. 1:30 post time on Saturday at Pocono. We'll have free PPs, as I said, free harness side PPs are up there. You can watch all the races live. 13 stakes races out of 14. Can't get much better than that. And you also have my full card analysis, drf.com/harness. You can see what I think about every single race on the card. And hopefully I'll have a lot of winners, which means you will too. Good luck.